Our next international award winner is Dr. Rino Rappuoli. He's the Chief Scientist and Head of External Research and Development at GSK Vaccines in Siena, in Italy. And he's awarded for his pioneering the genomic approach known as reverse vaccinology, which has been used to develop a number of vaccines, including that against meningococcus B, which has saved many lives worldwide. As Dr. Rappuoli comes to the stage, and I'll invite him up now, his music is the Marcia del Palio, which is the march before the Palio. So, Dr. Rappuoli.
Well, thank you. It's a great honor to be here, and it's a fantastic moment. The learning about the Gairdner and finding out how important it is to celebrate science and basically show to the world how important is the science, how it's transforming the way people live, I think is one great initiative of the Gairdner Award. And I think, really, thank you, Janet, for doing such a great job. It's fantastic to be here. And it's been fantastic to be, during the last few days, really to visit several universities here in Canada and meet the students, meet the professors, meet sometimes old friends, or friends that we never met, but we knew of each other because of the science and the work. So it's been really a fantastic experience. There's been one challenge. The challenge was when she asked me to select the music. And I've gone through many different ideas, but eventually I said, if I come to Canada, I want to bring something of my own town. I want to share with you the things we do. And in Siena, we have this horse race. The Palio is just 700 years old. And, and it's... happens twice a year. It's a great feast. It's a great celebration. I invite all of you to come and enjoy. And so, but the only thing I could bring was basically the music. So I hope you liked. And I wanted to share that part of Siena with you. And so I think, as you've seen, my job is to do vaccines. And the reason I do vaccines is because I was born in Siena, and in Siena there was an institute called Sclavo that had been doing vaccines for a century for Italy. And when I started, in Canada there was an institute, Connaught Laboratories, that was doing vaccines for Canada. And we were friends. We knew each other. Actually, I met several friends coming here. I remember the old days. And today, we are no longer Connaught Laboratories, no longer Sclavo, MGSK, and the Connaught Laboratories are part of Sanofi. But we are still the same people, the same passion, doing the same job. Just the world changes, the companies become bigger, you need more money to develop bigger vaccines. But the spirit is there, and the passion is still there. Now, when I talk about vaccines, the thing I like to say is that to remind to everybody that not a long time ago, a century ago, my grandfather had a life expectancy of 50 years, maybe less. And today we live in the Western world 85 years or more. And most of the life expectancy which has been gained has been by conquering infectious diseases. Diphtheria, tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella, smallpox, all these diseases disappeared. And they disappeared by three things, basically: hygiene, antibiotics, and vaccines. And so doing vaccines, we've been gaining more or less 35 years of life expectancy during the last century. And it's fantastic to see that we have been achieving with that. And the amazing thing is that the new technologies basically allow us to conquer new diseases every day. And one thing I'd like to say is that, I mean, you've seen my discovery has been using the new technologies, which was something we didn't have 25 years ago, which was the ability to sequence the genome of living organisms. I've been using the genomics to develop vaccines we couldn't do with the old technologies. And that was 20 years ago. Today, we are happy we have a vaccine for meningococcus B derived from the thing. But the amazing thing is that today, I mean, that was kind of 20 years ago is the Stone Age. Today, we can do beautiful things that we couldn't do 5 years ago. And the technologies are such that 5 years from now, we'll do things we cannot do today. And 15, 20 years from now, we'll be able to do things we cannot even dream about today. So I think for the young people that have been meeting a lot during that, it's a fantastic moment. I mean, I'm sure they will do things that we cannot teach them because they're not there yet. So the only thing we can teach them is the passion, the dedication, and to follow what they really like. And but I think the field where we are in is a great field, helps people, is a great science, but has a great impact on society. So the people who are working on this always have a great satisfaction, a great passion for it. So that's more or less what I wanted to say is that vaccines are something that have already done an enormous contribution to mankind, but the contribution in the future will be even greater. One contribution they can do, even in the short term, is that, I said today in the Western world, we have a life expectancy of 85 years. It's not that way everywhere. There are a lot of countries today, in 2017, where life expectancy is less than 50 years. And in those countries, people die from infectious diseases. Infectious diseases we could conquer by vaccines that we can make. We have the technology to make. We just don't have the finance, the funding to do that. And our society has not found a way to make a sustainable, to find a sustainable way to develop vaccines that will be a great benefit to the people that need the most worldwide. So that's something we need to work on. But that's the things I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share also a couple of moments of the things. I want to thank some of the mentors that allowed me to basically do what I did. My mentors have been Emil Goslich at Rockefeller University, Jack Murphy at Harvard Medical School. And although I never worked in his lab, a great collaborator, a great mentor has been Stanley Falco at Stanford, who's been one of the great, probably the best living bacteriologists today. I also want to mention Craig Venter. He has been a collaborator, and when back in 1995, I decided that I wanted to do a vaccine for meningococcus B, and the only way to do it was to get the genome of that bacterium. I had to decide whether I wanted to become someone who will do gene sequencing or keep being a bacteriologist and a vaccine developer. I decided that I was never going to be a good one in doing what Craig Venter was doing so well, and to continue to be a bacteriologist and vaccinologist. So I went to Craig Venter and said, Craig, would you like to sequence the genome of meningococcus B for me? And he said, why should I do that? He said, and Craig Venter at that time had sequenced the first bacterium, 2 million bases in the genome. And the reason that he had done that was not really because he was interested in bacteria, was the simplest organism that he could sequence, and he was building the software and the hardware to do the human genome, which is 3 billion bases, much bigger. So his goal was not to sequence another bacterium. He really wanted to do Drosophila 100 million bases so they could build the software and the hardware to do a 3 billion bases of the human genome that he did 5 years later. So doing another bacterium from him was a waste of time. And then I said, look, I mean, there is a disease out there. Children die, adolescents die, families are desperate. If you really help me in sequencing the genome, maybe we can solve the problem. And like 20 minutes later, we were collaborating. And we never stopped collaborating. But it was a moment very important. You can see that, I mean, two people with different goals can get together and solve one problem that none of the two alone was going to do it. I think at this point, I just want to conclude by saying that I'm here, got the medal. I'm very, very grateful for the medal. But, I mean, I'm here to represent a lot of people who have been working with me for many years. And there are scientists in the labs, the people who have been working for me, but also the people who have been working doing this kind of silent work that allow us to translate a scientific discovery into a product that is available for people. And those are actually hundreds, thousands of people, many times, that work to achieve what we achieve. And what they do is basically goes quiet. Nobody mentioned them, but I really want to mention all of them, because without them, I will not be here, and we wouldn't have the vaccines that we have today. Finally, obviously, in addition to collaborating with the things, we as scientists are so dedicated about the work that we'll not be able to do it without the help and the support of the family. So I think today I have here my wife, Angela, and I don't think, sorry, I haven't been able to do the work I've done without her. Thank you. And also, my son Simone is also here, been supporting me and my entire family. And with that, I will thank all of you. I think it's a fantastic event, and I'm really happy to be here. And I think the sequence of the event is also great, because actually I take statin, so it was good to be after that.